be either. They could have omitted this, because when you look at the actual final takeaway from the autopsy, it's basically everything that the third way neoliberals have been saying, right? And that seems a little crazy. And if that's the final takeaway from the autopsy itself, well then yeah, it was a bad one. It didn't, like, they didn't actually do a fully fleshed out autopsy. Now, having said that, Edinger Mentum says whoever they got to write the DNC autopsy might have legitimately used ChatGPT. Like, look at this. There are many errors. This is from the CNN report. To Martin's point about this document not being ready for prime time, it contains a lot of errors and curious inclusions, even some that are puzzling to have in a draft. For instance, it lists two separate vote percentages for North Carolina GOP gubernatorial candidate Mark Robinson, 45% and 42.7%, neither of which was his actual share, which was 40.1%. That you only arrive at these numbers if the AI is hallucinating. It, at one point, lifts up Washington Governor Bob Ferguson as an example of a candidate who did right things before later noting that he actually underperformed Harris. It misspells the names of politicians like Republican former Governor Matt Bevin as Brevin and Democratic former New Jersey Governor John Corzine. So, DNC autopsy author Paul Rivera met with the pro-Palestinian group IMEU Policy Project in July 2025 and told them the war in Gaza hurt Democrats in the 2024 election, according to people familiar with the meeting. But the final report makes no mention of Israel or Gaza. Dave Weigel says DNC's position, they've published what Rivera gave them in December. Nothing was taken out. And all the DNC did was add the notes, the box about how stuff is wrong or missing. So if Gaza is not in there, it's because Rivera's report didn't include it. So either Rivera purposely did not look at Gaza or Palestine at all. Okay. In the autopsy, either because someone directed him not to look at Palestine or Gaza or Israel at all, which is insane, right? Because you're supposed to cover every angle. Like, there is no, like, even if it's irrelevant, right? Which is the argument that, like, the pro-Israel, Israel firsters in the Democratic Party are going to try to say, oh, it's because it was irrelevant. Stupid. It was irrelevant. This confirms my priors. They didn't factor in Gaza because it was irrelevant. See, all you guys are obsessed with Israel. Like, that's what they're going to say, right? Except there were a million polls leading up to the election that showed that it was significant, right? And even if it was insignificant, the autopsy should show that it was insignificant. The idea that a full spectrum coverage on what went wrong is not going to feature some of the things that were irrelevant and openly say that it was fucking irrelevant is insane. Okay? If it's irrelevant, it should be in the autopsy, as Gaza was not relevant to the equation at all. In any case, centrists, of course, have welcomed this revelation. It's just crazy because the Democrats always find a way to make the centrists look good somehow. Well, internally. Externally, centrists are despised, reviled. Everybody hates them. But internally within the party, they're always right. It's just so crazy. They always massage the numbers to figure out a way where the centrists' priors were always the correct one, you know? They just did not lean hard enough to the moderate pivot. They didn't lean hard enough to be moderates, it seems. Welcome Pack, which promotes centrist Democrats, says that the DNC autopsy is proof that the party needs to moderate. Why didn't I think of that? Oh my God. I'm a centrist. And of course, once again, the centrist DNC's autopsy that was absolutely dog shit and everybody hates it, right? Actually proves my previous point that you had to be more centrist. True communism has never been tried. True centrism has never been tried. Okay? True centrism has never been tried. We needed more Liz Cheney, not less. You guys are stupid. It only confirms your priors if you think Israel, Biden's age, inflation, and immigration had no impact on the election, which I don't think anyone believes. I think the most basic facts everyone agrees on is that inflation and age hurt Biden, but neither are mentioned in the report. People who are pointing to this report to mean anything have no idea what they're talking about. Yes. Virtually every single factor that was unbelievably important are not mentioned in the report at all. Funny how that goes. How interesting. Yeah. Gaza is irrelevant to the equation. Biden's age is irrelevant to the equation. And inflation is irrelevant to the equation. Well, if that's what your argument is, then I guess there's nothing wrong with what the Democrats did, right? I mean, this is just a report that once again proves that Democrats did everything right and they still got indicted, you know? I did everything right and they indicted me. It turns out the Democrats did pretty much everything right, except they did not go far right enough. It turns out the only way that the Democrats could have done better, could have performed better, is if they pivoted to the center a little bit harder. It's really funny that centrist PACs like Welcome PAC are pointing to this as a spectacular victory when the DNC chair himself is like, this is dog shit. It's poo-poo. It's unbelievably embarrassing. I fired the guy who put it together. I hid it for 2 years out of shame. And I'm probably going to be fired from my position. And centrists are like, oh, this is perfect. This actually shows that we were right all along. Incredible. What is this? David Hogg made a good video on this. All right, I'm skipping it. All right. Let's take a look. Third Way also posted and deleted a meme about the autopsy as well. Third Way put out a statement claiming the long-awaited DNC autopsy proved their worldview correct, only to delete it afterwards, pointed out that the document they claimed was proof of their analysis was riddled with basic factual errors and was woefully incomplete. Third Way President John Cowan on the DNC autopsy. No wonder the chronically online, highly educated, left-leaning team at the DNC wanted to bury this report. The autopsy draft released today validates the case we've been making post-2024 and are making again today as we gather over 150 Nevada Democrats to chart the party's future. Democrats must be able to win the middle anytime, anywhere, and they can do that only with a combative centrism that rejects identity politics, reclaims the vital center, and positions the party as fighters on the economic issues that matter most to voters. As the New York Times poll shows, even a majority of Democrats want the party to move center and not left, and this report echoes that sentiment. For Democrats who want to win, this report should be case closed. They had to delete it. They had to delete it because everyone was like, dog, this report sucks. What the fuck are you talking about? You're such a goddamn idiot. But again, it doesn't matter because you can be a fucking idiot as long as you're an idiot for rich people. As long as you're a propagandist for rich people, your position is usually going to be fine, right? Your station will not be your station will not be in jeopardy. Another example of this, of course, is Bari Weiss. Bari Weiss is an unbelievably incompetent brown noser, but because she's a brown noser for the right billionaires, her station is usually fine, right? I mean, now they're talking at CBS because of her unbelievable incompetence. That maybe they should switch her around a little bit, but she's always going to have a career, right? The other point that they're trying to hastily slap together is this notion that the New York Times Siena poll also confirms their priors. But it's something that a lot of people don't understand. Voters identify free healthcare and other left economic populist policies as moderate. That's the problem. These guys think when the average American says, let's move to the center, let's move the Democratic Party to the center, they actually mean stop talking about trans stuff all the time, which is what they think is going on, which is not going on because the only reason why the Democrats are defined by that is, and this is literally absolutely a major fucking part of the Kamala Harris failure, right, is because they are defined by their enemy, okay? Democrats are defined by the Republicans because They don't get to dictate the terms of their own party. They don't get to dictate who they are. They don't get to show the Americans who they are with clear-cut, definable policies. That's why I always ask every candidate that I have to do the Zoran method. Give me 5 fucking policies that you want to be defined by. Okay? Anyone that does not recognize that is either lying, being paid to lie, or is a fucking unbelievable dumbass. I'm sorry. It's very clear. You look at the way you look at like approvals for certain politicians like Zoran Mamdani, Bernie Sanders. These people are in the hard left or the hardest of left. Why do they have better approvals than, I don't know, Marie Gluesenkamp Perez? Marie Gluesenkamp Perez or Josh Gottheimer are the perfect Democrats, right? From the perspective of the Democratic Party, the problem solvers caucus, like those are the blue dog Democrats are supposed to be the best Democrats. If you were to look at fucking Twitter and get your notes off of like DNC consultants and also those who LARP as DNC consultants for free on election Twitter, Marie Gluesenkamp Perez is the best fucking Democrat possible. She's the best, right? And so is Josh Gottheimer. So why are they not at the forefront? Why is Abigail Spanberger not one of the best Democrats out there? Why is her popularity not skyrocketing? Why is that the case? Perhaps because what consultants frame as centrism is not the same as what the average voter perceives as being closer to, a moderate politician. What voters look at in terms of moving to the center is free healthcare, free college education. Voters, American voters, by and large, consider those policies to be moderate policies. They think it's crazy that we don't have that. Okay? That's it. That's it. And I've been trying to fucking hammer this point across over and over again. No one in the United States of America thinks the most moderate politician is a politician that chooses to be center left to, I guess, quote unquote, far left only on social issues and totally right wing when it comes to economic issues. That's not a real person. That is probably the least popular type of politician you could arrive at. Okay? The most popular politician, on the other hand, is one that actually pushes a broad left-wing agenda when it comes to the economy and puts that at the forefront of their messaging, the forefront of their campaign, the forefront of their legislative agenda. Okay? All of the other stuff, whether you're socially progressive or socially moderate or socially reactionary, that stuff is secondary. What people care about is what you're going to do for them. Okay? That's it. And once again, as I've said over and over again, we do not have to compromise on trans issues at all. We do not have to compromise on trans issues at all because if you just give people something to vote for rather than constantly vote against the Republicans, then you don't have to fucking talk about the trans shit at all. Then you look silly. Your opposition looks silly. If you're like, hey, I am going to improve your life. I'm going to improve your life. I'm going to fight to improve your life no matter what. That is my primary focus, is my primary purpose. That's all I want to do is improve your motherfucking life. And here are the ways I'm going to do that. We're going to fix public transit in this country. We're going to do high-speed rail in this country. We're going to do, jobs guarantee, federal jobs guarantee. We're going to do social housing. We're going to do free healthcare, free college education. When you say stuff like that, when you put that at the forefront of your campaign, and then your opposition turns around and goes, but what about trans people? What about trans people? You look fucking stupid. Your opposition looks unbelievably childish and stupid. It's that simple. Okay? I brought it up right here. Hold on. Where the fuck is it? I'm trying to find it right now. There was a Trump video that I quote retweeted, but I can't find it now. I thought I did, at least. I thought I I thought I had a comment on this where I was like, imagine. Oh, yeah. I said this. This is what your opposition looks like. I said, now imagine if the other side is offering Medicare for all, arms embargo and sanctions on Israel, a federal jobs guarantee, social housing projects, and high-speed rail, right? Like imagine one party is saying, we are the Medicare for all party. We're going to give you free healthcare. We're going to give you free college education. We're going to actually fix the housing market. We're going to just build social housing, and we're going to do good labor unionized government-backed jobs to build those fucking houses. Same with the railroads, all this shit. And then this is what the Republicans are focused on.
His candidate, who's Ken Paxton, I think he'll win. I think probably he'll win very substantially. And I think he'll go on to defeat a very defective candidate, a candidate that believes in 6 genders, and he takes hits at Jesus Christ, and he's wearing a mask 6 months ago, whereas a guy, anybody wearing a mask 6 months ago doesn't get it.
I mean, this is silly. The average American voter might be a little bit reactionary. The average American cultist might actually hear this and go, 6 genders, okay, that seems good for me, right? But there is a much smaller market for people who demand this, as opposed to people who demand material improvements in their lives. I feel like nothing I'm saying is shocking. I don't think anything I'm saying is even ideological. I don't think anything I'm saying is like reinventing the wheel in any way, shape, or form. I'm literally saying, if you promise to fix people's immediate material problems, okay, that plague them on a daily basis, okay, with clear-cut, well-defined policies, universal policies that are easy to understand, easy to identify, and your opposition is talking about how you want 35 genders and to snip people's penises or whatever, they're going to look gross and weird and strange. You're going to look competent. But the Democrats will never do that. The Democrats will never do that because they know that if they do that, then corporations that benefit from both parties' inability to address these issues and corporations that make money off of the economic struggles that plague your life, corporations in the private healthcare industry, for example, right? Those guys will lose profits and they'll stop giving money to the Democrats. They'll stop hiring the children of elected representatives in the Democratic Party into high-paying jobs. That's it. It's not that confusing. It's not that complicating, okay? It's not that complicated. Paxton is just Diet Trump nicknames. Okay, whatever. We're not going to get into Ken Paxton right now. We're still on the autopsy. The guy that Martin hired to do the autopsy fucked up so bad and was still working for the DNC months later. He just got fired. Okay? For the record, the guy that was hired to do the autopsy was so spectacularly bad, and yet he was still working at the DNC. Because this is another thing that I always talk about. Democrats love rewarding failure. Jamie Harrison, great example. Diligent fundraiser. Fundraised a shit ton of money against Lindsey Graham. Failed spectacularly. And the DNC was like, you're our guy. You should head it. And it turns out Ken Martin is also kind of a fucking kind of a failure too, a little bit. Now that Amy McGrath, 3-time loser in Kentucky, is free because she lost the primaries to Charles Booker in Kentucky, maybe we'll put fucking Amy McGrath in charge. Maybe we'll put Amy McGrath in charge. Fuck it, dude. Anyway, it's just ridiculous. Let's take a look at MS Now and the way they're covering it.
Democrats just released a report about the 2024 election and their loss. This is that autopsy report, and it is incomplete, but it does paint a dismal picture for Democrats. It says the party has gone between stagnation and retrogression since Barack Obama's win in 2008, and that Democratic candidates have proven incapable of projecting strength, unity, and leadership. And
oh, by the way, this was awesome. Conclusions. Perfect metaphor. Ben Rhodes says, perfect metaphor for an institutional Democratic Party that seems unwilling to even face the moment. Disclaimer, this document reflects the views of the author. Conclusion. This section was not provided by the author. Not too many people here on Al Gore's internet are also the lead author of a sprawling 2024 autopsy-like report. Since the good Lord blessed me with this opportunity, she has also chosen to bless me with this. The funniest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. Actual raffling. Oh my God. I don't even know why people on Blue Sky have just a like 2016 way of speaking still. Like they haven't, it's the most faillennial. Oh, this is irrelevant. I don't want to get bogged down with that. All right, let's continue.
Voters have drifted away. Let's bring back MS Now Capitol Hill reporter Kevin Fry. And Kevin, I know you just are getting an initial look at this. It's 192 pages. I know you haven't had a chance to read through all of it, but based on what you're seeing so far, what are the big takeaways? What do we know about this report?
Yeah, about 20 pages in. I will say, look, one of the things that has stood out to me is one of the things they have in, quite frankly, the opening, which is that they argue that the reduction in support for and training for state parties has contributed to a shift in voter registration issues, organizing capacity for the state at the state level, and persistent problems with their candidates to listen to voters. They also see this as being somewhat of a contradiction when it comes to what voters are backing policy-wise versus backing and supporting their candidates, saying, for instance, voters have backed through referendums in states issues, for example, dealing with health care, abortion rights, the list goes on, things that Democrats might actually typically win on, but at the same time their candidates aren't necessarily winning on those issues. They also say that regaining trust and confidence in the party where voters have an affirmative reason to support Democrats will take a comprehensive strategy and considerable effort over multiple cycles. So this is not some sort of short-term change they're seeing here, saying that Democrats need to do it right now because the future could become even more difficult to do so. Still pouring through some of the kind of the contradictions they see between how Senate candidates did versus the presidential candidates did, where they see that Kamala Harris, for example, failed to get across the finish line compared to other candidates. So a lot more to unpack here, but those are just within the first dozen or so pages, some of the initial takeaways about the kind of structural messaging and favorability issues that the party sees with just the voting public.
What's up with the timing? Why are they releasing this now?
That's a great question. One of the things that is notable about this is that the DNC's own chairman is basically coming out and
no, I don't look good today. I'm not okay. I am pale because I wanted to move the camera just a little bit. And of course, in the process of doing so, everything got fucking reset. I don't want to get into it.
Saying that, one, that there was essentially pressure on them to go ahead with
I'm
this.
both pink and pale at the same time. I don't even know how.
Second.
I don't even know how this is fucking possible. I look like shit.
He said that he wanted to be honest and transparent with actionable and specific takeaways for the future of the Democratic Party. He says that when he initially received this report, it was not ready for prime time. And as you look through it, it's notable that there is, one, no executive summary, and two, there are lots of sections where you see comments from the DNC, from Ken Martin, basically saying, this data doesn't add up, this number is wrong, where is the calculation to back up this claim? So not necessarily everyone on the same page, it seems, as to what the takeaways are here.
Yeah, you look at, as I'm scrolling through, I went right to where it was supposed to have the executive summary, and it's completely blank. One thing that we are finding, though, in this report is that they're noting a rural miscalculation that, quote, Harris wrote off rural America, assuming urban-suburban margins would compensate, and, quote, the math doesn't work. Kevin, 2028 isn't that far off.
It's not, and 2026 is going to be a big test case for this. Can Democrats manage to make inroads there? Part of their messaging strategy and part of the takeaway, another takeaway that I saw in this, is that the Bidenomics messaging, quite frankly, was just not landing with voters. If anything, it was turning them off. And Democrats have leaned into affordability as part of their 2026 messaging, seemingly trying to rebut that. It does help, of course, that under the Trump administration, we have seen gas prices surge over the last several months because of the Iran war, other healthcare-related price concerns, for example, that have given Democrats ammo in that vein. And so will that affordability message, will that make an appeal?
How are you going to live in sunny California and not have a tan? Again, we're focusing on all the good stuff, but I will eventually. I've been going outside more. According to another source on the call, Martin didn't refuse to take questions. Nobody asked one. Wait, what? Ken Martin just held a call for all DNC members. According to a person on the call, Martin essentially just read his public statement on the autopsy and then refused to take any questions. Nobody asked for questions? Okay. Again, this is why, look. This is why I say these guys are unfathomably weak. This yields opportunity. This presents an opportunity. I don't know if Dave Weigel is like making a joke or not here. He probably shouldn't be fucking joking about stuff like this, to be fair, because he's a reporter. But I will say this. This is why I keep repeating over and over again that this fucking party is dying. Okay? They're dying. But what the fuck? Oh my God. I am so annoyed. Oh my fucking God. It's just everything is so broken. How is this possible? Everything is so broken. I'm never letting anybody touch my fucking setup ever again. I swear to God. All right. There you go. You got Kaya Cam as well. Time for a studio. This is a studio. We're in a studio. Anyways, I was saying. Okay. What am I doing? Can you make Kaya bigger? Kaya has a great tan unlike her father. Yeah, because she actually goes outside a lot more than I do. The brightness is too low. I know. Where was I? What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. What I was talking about is this. Okay. These guys, the Democratic Party is weak. The Democratic Party is unbelievably weak. And that's a good thing for us. Okay? If your goal is to make necessary changes in the United States of America, it's basically an opportunity. It's like you have a friend who's really into cars, okay? And he has an incredible car that you want. He's your best friend. But he can't drive it any longer. He had a freak accident, so he can't drive cars any longer. You could just take the car now. Okay? You could just be like, "Hey, let me take this off of you. Real cheap." Do you see what I'm saying? I'll take this car off of you real cheap. Okay? You give me a good deal on this. You got a DUI. Maybe I'll let you drive it every now and then in the parking lot. Okay? Hasan Piker analogies, imagine a car. That's the way I see it. Law, I don't think the value of the car is affected. The value of the car is not affected. But there's no one driving it, no one capable of driving it. So it's just going to waste, sitting around, collecting dust in the garage. Okay? That's what I see. I see opportunity. I feel like it's a waste not to use this opportunity, this moment.
That goes beyond just the typical Democratic voting demographics. Will they be able to resecure some of those voters? I think that's part of what Democratic leadership here on the Hill has been betting on, and that could serve as somewhat of a roadmap heading into 2024.
At long last, the
Kevin
2024
Fry, we'll
DNC
let you get back to reading this autopsy report from the DNC from 2024, and we know you'll bring us more highlights as you get them.
Oh, God, they're so fucking bad. Like, it makes total sense why incompetent fascist Republicans keep winning in this goddamn country with objectively the most evil, like openly evil policies. Because it's not like the Republicans are running around being like, we have some really good ideas on how to fix this country. They are just open. They're open about it. They're like, no, we fucking hate you. We want to melt the poor. We want to kill a lot of immigrants in the process, or anyone and everyone that we have considered to be bad because they're brown, right? Like, we have all the worst ideas, and people still go, you know what, I'm going to vote for this guy. And if you're wondering why that's the case, if you're like, how is that possible? How are the Democrats still losing to this? Well, here you have it. It's because the party is unbelievably fucking incompetent. They don't want to win. They don't want to fucking win. They don't care about winning. They don't care about defeating the Republicans. It's that simple. They just want to sit around and fucking collect their money. That's it.
All right, y'all, got some breaking news here for you. So the DNC has now officially released the autopsy of the 2024 race, and it gets into why they think they lost. Now, Ken Martin is the head of the DNC. He had basically been going around in interviews and gaslighting us as to why he's refusing to release the autopsy. Well, now that it is released, allow me...
Yet you still work with them? You're a fucking idiot. You are the biggest idiot of all time. I cannot comprehend a bigger idiot. You might be dumber. As a matter of fact, you are dumber than fucking Ken Martin and the entirety of the Democratic Party, because they recognize what I'm trying to do and they're very worried about it. That's why they spend a good deal of their fucking time attacking me. You, on the other hand, don't understand what I'm trying to fucking do, and you just want to chirp from the sidelines. Okay? I'm not working with the fucking Democratic Party, you moron. Oh my God. Do I work for the DNC? Does it look like I work for the DNC to you? Are you that fucking stupid? How is this possible that, like, the dumbest people of all time, the dumbest people that work in such close proximity to power, at least are intelligent enough? What? Why did you respond to Salin, a Palestinian, in that tone? They're right. Wait, what? A Palestinian? How the fuck am I supposed to know what if anyone's background? What the fuck are you guys talking about? What are we doing? We're doing identity politics now? What the fuck is this bait? I don't know who Salin is. What the fuck is going on? It's got to be bait, right? What is this? Is this the new meta? That I'm anti-Palestinian? Is that what you're doing? Is that what the new thing is? Holy crash out? Yes, dude. Yes. It is a fucking crash out. It is. You got it. If that was your goal, if that was what your goal was, you fucking, you achieved it, okay? Oh my God. Double perma. Who wants it? Who else wants it? It is bait. Every day you aren't on Fox and CNN is a day where chat sucks is simple. Oh my God. Chad is low-key the no job convention. Yes. Listen. We're not doing fucking unnecessary infighting right now. Okay? We're not doing that. It's not time for it. You're being insane. Okay? You're being insane with this shit. I think there is a new movement that has been brewing in the sidelines that has always been something that I'm aware of, but haven't really paid too much attention to. From the Larishites to the revolutionary communists, shepherded by Chairman Bob Avakian, there's always been what I like to call the schizo left. Okay? There's always been like a cult side of the left. People have yelled at me in the past about Black Hammer, for example, when I called them cranks and called them insane. At the time, there were a lot of people who were like, hold on, let's hear him out. You actually don't understand the revolutionary spirit captured by the Black Hammer organization, right? There are always people who see the most batshit fucking crazy person and go, that's my guy. I'm an insane person, and I feel perfectly represented by this also insane person, okay? One of the things I often do is just push aside or try to actively not talk about people who are in the schizoid communoid left, okay? They are out there. They're not like a very large constituency. They're not necessarily a sizable constituency at all, but because they spend every fucking waking moment on the internet and don't have a job, right? So all they do is fucking chirp. They have an outsized representation on websites like Twitter and also sometimes this fucking community as well. It's very strange. I don't know why this movement is I do know why this movement is growing, because every variant in the United States of America, every ideological tendency in the United States of America has different schizo variants, because we are a very mentally unwell nation, okay? So it makes sense. I'd say at least 1/3 of chat will fall for a Mussolini speech. Oh, 100%. 100%. They'd be going, hold on, let's hear him out. They already do that. His name is Tucker Carlson, and there are people who fall for it every single time. In any case, the DNC is a horrible institution. It is an institution that has bred so much failure. Okay? And there are a lot of people who are no longer falling for the bullshit that this liberal institution has presented. Self-identifying liberals who are demanding more. Okay? Self-identifying liberals who want more from their party. This is an opportunity. Okay? This is an opportunity to show them that there is a different type of politics, a different way of understanding the world, one that actually focuses on class, one that actually wants to improve their lives. But instead of using this as an opportunity to foment class consciousness amongst the masses, most of the people just want to fucking chirp in Twitch streams. They want to chirp on Twitter. They don't want to actually go out and talk to people. It's fucking frustrating. All they want to do is yell at the people who do that. All they want to do is yell at the DSA. It's always about criticizing the different methods of organizing that other people are using. It's never about doing the fucking work. And I don't understand where this comes from. Sometimes you just got to shut the fuck up and let other people cook, and you cook in the way that you want to cook. Okay? You do it. If it works, I'll work with you every single time. Okay? People get real mad when I say build the Vanguard King and I'll be there for you. And they get real upset. They're like, wow, this is so dismissive. No, man. My point, I'm being sincere when I say that. What makes you think if there was currently an active Marxist-Leninist Vanguard Party or an active, genuine, like successful, impactful Vanguard out there that I wouldn't work with them? It's very strange. If you just assume that the masses are gone and it's a foregone conclusion, build a vanguard so you want to get in when the hard work of decades of organizing is done. Buddy, you're not doing it. That's my point, okay? You're not doing it. You're not doing it at all. All you're doing is this. This is what you're doing. We have a finite amount of time on this planet, okay? Lifespans are relatively short in the grand scheme of history. And if you're spending all of the productive hours that you have in the day chirping at a fucking Twitch streamer, then you're not doing it. Be more productive with your time. That's the whole point. You think trying to rage bait me so that I respond to you in a fucking angry way, and maybe it gets into, like a Fox News clip machine, is somehow going to make you feel better, is somehow going to make you feel like you're moving in the right direction. I always ask myself, is this productive? Who is this message for? Who is this argument for?
To say, I kind of understand why you didn't want to release it. Hey, bro, this thing's a mess, man. This thing is an absolute mess. So let me walk you through it. But right off the jump here, let me just say, 100% this was made with AI. Without a doubt, this was made with AI. It is an absolute joke. It is pathetic how off base this is. All right, so right off the jump here, let me just say, some of the reasons that they give for why Kamala lost, they say Trump's they-them attack ads on Kamala were seen as highly effective. That's where Trump was saying, she only cares about trans people.
Are you upset you were lied to about the anti-Zionists? You condemned. It's okay, Hasan. You were wrong and we forgive you. Banned. If you're talking about Maureen Galindo, if the peak of your anti-Zionist activism revolves around who actually pisses off like the pro-Israel crowd or Jews the most, you're not a serious person. Okay? You're not. You're not a sincere person at all. I'm sorry, guys. It's this is what I'm talking about. Like, there are a lot of people who are just like now firmly within the ranks of the schizo left, where people are just like deeply unwell. Okay? And I don't even want to talk about this issue any further than I already have, because it is deeply frustrating. Like, perhaps you should just reach out to her and have a conversation with her, if you love her so much, right? About what her worldview looks like, and maybe lead her back to some semblance of reality, rather than saying this is the peak of anti-Zionist activism in the country. A crystal mommy who keeps saying Jews control Hollywood. At that point, you might as well fucking talk about Nick Fuentes being the best at anti-Zionist advocacy. Okay? You're reactionary. You're unbelievably reactionary. Very frustrating to see.
Whereas I care about you, the regular folks. To me, I think that's kind of stupid and dumb because Kamala wasn't talking about trans people. She never mentioned trans people. So to try to tar her with that, it rings very hollow, in my opinion. We also have the Biden team was criticized for failing to prepare Kamala properly. They say that the Democrats were neglecting rural voters. And they also say that Democrats relied too much on saying we're not Trump. Hey, we're not this guy. We're anything but this guy. Okay, so that's some of the conclusions. We also have Kamala Harris on the ballot helped down ballot Democrats more than Biden would have if he was on the ballot. In the report, they urge a shift away from identity politics and toward middle class and kitchen table issues like the economy and affordability. They also say that Republicans were more effective at messaging and data use, and they learned messages from the past better, including from Obama's campaign. Now, having said all that, you ready for this? So, mentions of Gaza, Palestine, or Israel in the 192-page report. Zero. None. Not at all. It didn't bring it up at all. Okay?
The only reason why that attack ad, the Kamala is for they, them, worked, quote unquote, worked, and its impact could absolutely be discussed. Dude, I mean, this is so fucking annoying. I can't stand these motherfuckers so much. I try not to fucking left bash at all. But the motherfuckers that constantly complain about like any Democrat, the motherfuckers that just hate the Democratic Party, sometimes more than they hate the Republican Party. As a matter of fact, most of the time, more than the Republican Party are so frustrating. Like I'll literally be like, oh look, Chris Rabb, he's like a genuinely radical person, right? Genuinely radical politician who spent a lifetime doing activism, working inside of his own state, within the confines of like state governance, obviously, but still tried to do his very best. What a wonderful moment that he got elected. What a wonderful moment that he's now in a position of power to make some changes. And people will be like, no, because he's a Democrat, of course he's fucking pro-Israel. He's a Zionist because he's a Democrat. Everyone is a Zionist. Everyone is a Zionist, unlike me. Okay, guy who fucking chirps on Twitter. I'm doing the most anti-Zionism. I'm doing maximum anti-Zionism. Electing anti-Zionists into office is not anti-Zionism. Tweeting about how those guys are actually Zionists is anti-Zionism. Like, it's so frustrating. And then, like, I'll be like, dude, what are you doing? You're not doing anything. You're just fucking posting on Twitter. Like, you're not trying anything. All you're doing is posting on Twitter. And people go, wow, you sound like ContraPoints. Wow, you are so fucking you're completely captive. You're completely captive to the pro-Israel Democratic Party. I hate having to have these stupid conversations with people who I previously thought were at least somewhat empathetic and somewhat intelligent. It turns out you can be an empathetic person. You can be on the right side. You can be on the right side of an issue and still be a fucking moron. Reactionary and parasocialists created the most unhealthy online combo I've seen in a long time. There's so many of them now, bro. I don't know what's going on. The last 2 weeks have been a nightmare. AOC bad, Plattner bad, Bernie bad, Galindo good. Yeah, where is this coming from? I genuinely don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't understand where this is coming from. Where they're like, yeah, no, Chris Rabb is a Zionist because he's a Democrat, whereas Maureen Galindo is anti-Zionist because Democrats hate her. Okay, there are plenty of people that the Democrats hate. Well, they hate me too, for the record, but of course that never factors into the equation. I'm a Zionist too. I'm literally pro-Israel. You should talk about this with the Chapo boys. No, because Seamus was on. Seamus and Dylan are people that I know very well. Okay? And Seamus had a very thoughtful opinion on this, where he's like, the reason why a lot of people, like, he even catches himself while he's talking about it. I was listening to their latest episode where he literally says, I might be a little too critical of AOC because, like, I just have personal enmity and personal resentment against her. But the reality of the matter is, like, Tucker Carlson is not a fucking real anti-imperialist. Like, I'm never going to shit on him for doing the right thing on the issue of Israel, which is literally my take. I agree with Seamus on this issue. I didn't hear the rest of what they were talking about, but he was straight up saying, like, look, I don't think, he just straight up was saying, like, I don't think that we should just cast aside any aid like Marjorie Taylor Greene or Tucker Carlson. But also, at the same time, the idea that these guys are like even he recognizes that there are some people on the left who sincerely make it seem as though Tucker Carlson is like an anti-imperialist, and that's not the case at all. Maybe I haven't gotten to the other part of the story. They criticize your material change you try to achieve but do nothing. Very cynical, zero optimism. Not about casting aside. It's about them useful. They don't seem to be that useful. No, I think that there is utility to anyone with a large platform that speaks out on these issues convincingly. Tucker Carlson certainly has a large platform and speaks on the issue of Israel convincingly. But to assume that Tucker Carlson is like a trusted ally in this fight or an anti-imperialist in any way, shape, or form is unbelievably stupid. Okay? I think too many Groypers on Twitter love that crazy procrastination lady. I think this is the far-right Carlson Groyper type trying to infiltrate. No, it's not. It's not. It's not. For a lot of people, they're so desperate for anyone to be fucking anti-Zionist that they will literally lean into anyone and everyone. It's the Randy Fine versus Dan Bilzerian equation, where they will just go, yeah, Dan Bilzerian is a better alternative than Randy Fine. Okay? And if your calculation revolves around, like, both of these guys fucking suck dick, but one of them is anti-Israel, one of them is pro-Israel, then yeah, Dan Bilzerian literally etches out against Randy Fine because they believe the same exact fucking bullshit. Randy Fine and Dan Bilzerian believe the same shit. They do. 99% of the way. Same with, like, Nick Fuentes versus Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro and Nick Fuentes believe the exact same bullshit. But one gets recognized as a valid media person, Ben Shapiro does, right? And the other is understandably deplatformed and cast aside and has no place in, like, polite, civilized conversations in civilized society. Part of that is because you can believe every single thing that Nick Fuentes believes, with one exception, Israel, and you're fine. This is busted. This is broken. This is the problem. What I said about Maureen Galindo was, if you don't want someone to be a conspiratorial nut job that represents the anti-Zionist bracket on the Democratic Party primaries, then run better fucking Democrats. Your alternative can't be a pro-Israel cop that wants to fund ICE. If you run a pro-Israel cop that wants to fund ICE, you're going to funnel people to a crank that says insane shit. It's that simple. That's it. This is the United States of America. People believe in crazy shit, okay? People believe in a lot of violent rhetoric. People have only heard violent rhetoric. So when you actually redirect that violent rhetoric for the first time ever, not towards black people, not towards brown people, but instead to people in positions of power ostensibly, okay, or to a group, perhaps the only group that has any DEI initiatives that people care about, Republicans, right? Republicans that say, like, DEI is bad across the board except for Jewish people. Like, that is the dynamic that they're trying to present here. And everyone fucking pounces on that person. Most people go crazy. People look at that and go, okay, what the fuck is going on? Not everything is a psyop. Holy fuck, everyone's conspiracy brand is so painful to listen to. I don't even think Maureen Galindo is a psyop. I think she's just crazy. I think she's just like a sincerely crazy person. I think she is not very well read, not very educated, right, on this issue, doesn't understand it, and is just simply reacting to the things that she has seen thus far. And when you're like a little crazy on top of that, or very crazy on top of that, of course, that's going to be your output. Your output's going to be like legitimately insane. She's Marjorie Taylor Blue. Okay? When I say Maureen Galindo is not very well educated, I mean on the issue of Israel-Palestine. Okay? That's it. You can have someone be on the right side of an issue or even center their worldview around empathy, but then also be not have the solid fundamentals and then just come out with like, and have any sort of proclivity towards like believing in conspiracy theories and whatnot. That's what's going to happen. That's the average American now. That's the median voter. That's always been the median voter. A lot of people don't understand that. Ironically enough, I've always been anti-crank. Okay, this is why a lot of people have yelled at me over and over again for years. I was always anti-Tulsi Gabbard, for example, and people yelled at me all the fucking time for this. Okay, I love cranks. I love watching them from afar. I'm fascinated with the way that they operate, but I'm not going to ever fucking sincerely talk about being a fucking crank, like or how some kind of crank is a movement leader. Okay. I love watching Professor Jiang, but I'm not going to sit there and be like, what a brilliant, thoughtful person. She's an average Ohioan, but living in Texas. I mean, she's an average San Antonio Texan, too. Galindo/Tucker expose the reactionary tendency among leftists to just want their adversary to theoretically bleed by any means necessary. They insist on any kind of pragmatism, even if it's in the direction of socialism being weak and wrong. Yeah. I think there are more psyops and astroturfing campaigns online than we realize. I bet. Sure, maybe. Better to be crank agnostic because they're a good gateway into politics, to be perfectly honest. Opposing them too harshly makes their newly awakened fans who will fall away after a month or two when they see how dumb they are less open to you. I know. But I do think it's good. We have to push back on it a little bit. Why else would I push back on anti-Semitism, for example? I mean, most of the anti-Semites, with the exception of the Zionist Christians, right, evangelical Zionists, most of anti-Semites in the United States of America are anti-Israel. So why do I not let that shit slide? Why do I not let it go? Anti-Semites, and maybe even some on the left, say, oh, it's because you want to be a mainstream media figure and you have to pay the piper. You are not allowed to be a mainstream media figure if you say the secretive truths, right? That's their suspicion. That's not the case. That's not the case at all, because I'm not a fucking reactionary tailist, okay? Because it is fundamentally flawed thinking, the assumption that there is an international organized Jewry or any group whatsoever is operating on in-group, out-group dynamics in a way where they cannot change their fucking perspective at all, that they're organized and that they're moving in one direction. That's not how this works. That's not how the world works. People have class interests. People operate on those class interests. People act on those class interests. That's it. Except for Oklahoma City Thunder fans. They do obviously participate in Hasbara. It's very clear. Let's continue with Kyle Kulinski.
That is astonishing, especially given that we now have some data that has come out that shows it was a very big reason why Kamala wasn't able to juice the turnout among the base as much as she needed it. Okay, we already have polling data that indicates this was a huge, huge issue. Okay, more. In addition to flat out factual inaccuracies that are in the report, and I'm going to give you some of those in just a little bit. But in addition to that, the report also doesn't discuss inflation, perceptions of Biden's age, and immigration. That's all left completely out of the report. Amazing, amazing. All right, now how do we know that this was written by AI? Well, let me give you this. Here's some of the errors it contains. To Ken Martin's point about this document not being ready for prime time, which is something he said, it contains lots of errors and curious inclusions, even some that are puzzling to have in a draft. For instance, it lists 2 separate vote percentages for North Carolina for the Republican gubernatorial candidate Mark Robinson. It says at one point he won 45% of the vote. At another point it says he won 42.7% of the vote. Neither of those are correct. He won 40.1% of the vote. Okay? In one point, it lifts up the Washington governor, Bob Ferguson, as an example of a candidate who did the right things, before later noting that he actually underperformed Kamala Harris. So their example of like the ideal is somebody who performed worse than Kamala did. It also misspells the names of politicians, like the Republican former Kentucky governor, Matt Bevin. They put Brevin instead of Bevin. And the Democratic former New Jersey governor, John Corzine, it's spelled John incorrectly. I mean, this is, again, this is amateur hour. This is amateur hour here. One of the things from the report that was like a big takeaway is that, hey...
Actually, dying how the crux of this report is the fucking North Carolina governor's race. Like, fuck, of course, dude. Democrats should just run against a black Nazi obsessed with racist porn in every race. Why didn't they think of that before? This type of analysis would get you laughed off. Even the stupidest parts of election Twitter, they unironically would have been 1,000 times better off hiring an autistic 16-year-old with a PFP of laser eyes of Brad Lander than doing what they did here. No, those guys also don't have good ideas, and I'm not going to give them any fucking credit either, okay? Anyway. But yeah, it's I guess the Democratic Party never ceases to amaze me with like how bad they are, like how just openly incompetent they are, you know? That's just what it is. Beyond any sort of like ideological tendency, beyond any sort of association, beyond any sort of like higher priority placed upon defending corporations and whatnot, or defending Israel. Like, they are just unbelievably bad at their fucking jobs at its root, right? The most basic assessment of the DNC is that they are fucking dog shit at their jobs. And because their jobs are protected by corporate interests, by their defense of corporate interests, ultimately, as long as they keep that shit up, as long as they fight these enemies of corporate interests within their ranks, as long as they actively try to purge their enemies from within their ranks, and they spend most of their time and effort and energy on ensuring that there is no insurgent left that captures any center of power within the party, right? That causes people to second guess their previous reasons for voting for the Democrats in general, and demand more radical Democrats all around the country, seeing the success of the likes of Zoran Mamdani and numerous others. As long as that doesn't happen, everyone's happy. That's it.
Democrats need to run a race like the governor of North Carolina, the Democratic governor of North Carolina. And of course, the takeaway people are having is like, bro, he was running.
Yeah, this is one of the greatest assessments of all time. Okay. This is one of the best examples. One of the best examples. Abigail Spanberger, CIA's very own, right? centrist Democrat, moderate, wins the race in Virginia. All of the fucking centrists get behind her and say, you're talking about Zohran Mamdani, who's in New York. New York is deep blue. His victory was actually irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. Nothing to learn from that victory at all. Let's look at CIA's very own governor, right? In CIA's very own state, the state of Virginia. Okay, let's look at her fucking track record. Let's look at her approval so far. Carl Bayer did that. He looked at all the vetoes from Governor Abigail Spanberger over the last week, and they were even worse than you thought they were. Last Friday, she vetoed a bill that would have expanded and protected collective bargaining rights for state public sector workers. On Tuesday, she vetoed legislation that would have protected voters from illegitimate purges from voter rolls. Also on Tuesday, she vetoed 2 bills that would have provided an affirmative defense and strengthened protections for defendants afflicted with mental illness. Oh yeah, she also vetoed a law that would have established Virginia's first statute for allowing class action lawsuits. Also a veto on a law capping the use of private funds by election officials. And she vetoed a law that would have shielded universities from speech restrictions imposed by their boards similar to those pushed by Trump. On Wednesday, she vetoed a bill that would have outlawed ICE arrests at courthouses, polls, schools, and hospitals. That same day, she also vetoed a bill that would have legalized the sale of marijuana in Virginia. Also on Wednesday, she vetoed legislation that would have lowered prescription drug prices in the state of Virginia. What the fuck are we doing? If you look at her as like the North Star, as how all Democrats should be all around the nation, you just want the Democratic Party to be the gay Republican Party. That's it. You want gay Republicans, and maybe not even too gay. Not in your face with all the gay shit either, right? Like, that's what you want. I don't think that's what the base wants. I don't think that's good. I don't think that's good politics, and I don't think that's good policy. It's fucking ridiculous. And I know she released statements as to why she had to veto all these fucking bills. I know. It's bullshit, okay? I heard especially the ICE one. Oh, well, if I didn't veto this ICE bill, then we would be putting security in a compromising position where ICE agents are going to go into those hospitals anyway. No, dumbass. When that bill goes through, that actually limits ICE's fucking movement because they don't want to be in this like weird friction with, local security in the hospital. So they don't go into the fucking hospitals. That's the whole point. I know it's super controversial to say this right now, but I really do completely agree with you. No, it's not controversial to say that. It's only controversial to say I completely agree. I know you're just joking, chatter. It's only controversial to say that if you're fucking insane, okay? And unfortunately, we do live in an insane country. And more people are becoming more and more insane by the day. Her fans are saying that she isn't against them. She just wants policy reworded, and she will agree because they're party apparatchiks, okay? They are the most loyal propagandists for centrist Democrats for some weird reason. I think it's unearned. I think this loyalty, this overzealous nature of like centrism fans is unearned. But they're just party defenders. That's it. They are regime pilled. Comparing Abigail Spanberger and Zohran Mamdani approximately half a year into their first term really demonstrates the stakes of the current battle for the future of the Democratic Party, says Aaron Regenberg, who writes for the New Republic. After their respective elections, a lot of third-way types argued that Zohran's win in New York City offered the Democratic Party few, if any, lessons, and the real attention should be on folks like Spanberger. Fast forward, and Zohran is reinvigorating municipal institutions and doing a whole spectrum of things to make people believe that democratic government can, in fact, make a positive impact in their lives. Compare that to Spanberger, who is vetoing laws to support collective bargaining, protect immigrants, and lower prescription drug prices. This really gets to the core divided between Dem factions right now, between those who think Trump and MAGA appeared out of nowhere. And so all we have to do is win one election against them, and those who understand that these forces arose out of a disillusionment with our democratic institutions, a belief that the system isn't working, so we need a strong man to blow it up, meaning that the only long-term solution that can avoid a repeat of this Biden wins in 2020 but Trump is back in 2024 loop is proving that democratic government can in fact work for regular people. This is at the heart of my fucking understanding of the problem as well. This is exactly what I kept repeatedly mentioning with the 2024 election. The idea that Democrats didn't learn the lesson of 2016, that they thought a return to normalcy is what people wanted. And then when normalcy came back, that people were going to be comfortable delivering normalcy a second term. That's not what was going on at all. The average person is fucking pissed off. They're pissed off because of inflation. They're pissed off at the institutions. They correctly identify that the current system is fundamentally flawed. But if one party is offering no alternatives to that whatsoever, and the other party is saying, we're going to break this system down and we're going to rebuild it in a way that suits your purposes, then yeah, they're going to go with, yeah, fuck the system party. The problem is the fuck the system party is very much a byproduct of the system itself. They're just using fuck the system and let's brick the establishment as a tool to galvanize the public, as a tool to basically win elections. And then they do break the system, but in a way that actually suits their purpose, in a way that is not disruptive to the pre-established hierarchy of capitalism, of capital, transcending above the needs of everybody else. In New York City, Zoran is doing that hard work of proving democratic and democratic, like, you know, small d Democratic and big D Democrat Party government can make a positive impact in people's lives. In Virginia, Spanberger, after running and winning on an affordability message, is doing favors for Big Pharma to stop legislation that could control prescription drug prices, i.e. resorting to the same failed playbook that makes voters think, oh, GOP or Democrat, these politicians are all the same. At the state level, this is the kind of trajectory that will lock in a Republican gubernatorial victory in Virginia in 3 years. But the bigger picture, and as we think about the next presidential primary, this demonstrates that the question must be not just who can win in 2028, but also what will they do after winning to ensure we're not right back in the fascism loop a few years later. We've talked a lot about how economic populism is the best frame for winning upcoming elections, but we should keep in mind that just as importantly, it is a necessary governance strategy to lock those wins in for the long term. That was a great take from Aaron Regenberg. Izzy Breen, former comms for Ilhan Omar, says, hasn't even been a year and Zoran's governance is having massive impact on my family. Our daycare was able to open a 15-seat, 3K program because of the 2,000 extra streets the admin funded. Everyone we know got in somewhere they wanted. This is going to save us almost 50 grand. That's real material changes being delivered to the people after they voted for someone. When is the last time you felt that way? And we obviously don't feel it here because I live in Los Angeles. So I'm on the fucking outside looking in, right? I'm on the outside. They're having a fucking grand old time in New York City and we're all watching from afar. When is the last time you voted for a goddamn politician and that politician actually followed through on their fucking promises and that actually impacted your life in a positive way? When is the last time that's happened? When? So what is the expectation? That people have some semblance of fucking strange loyalty to this party that is actually never really even over-promising, but the things that they do under-promise, they don't even deliver. It's ridiculous.
Against a Republican who was a black Nazi who was obsessed with racist porn. He's like that guy was the worst candidate maybe in U.S. history, and that's the only reason the Democrat won, is because Mark Robinson is a fucking mess. That was the Republican, Mark Robinson. So I mean, to say that's a dumb conclusion is the understatement of the century. I mean, obviously, every Democrat can't run against somebody who's got that long of a track record of being like an atrocious candidate. Duh. So that's.
And he also literally did not pay his debts. Like, it's such a funny. He was so funny, dude. What a fucking goated character he was, where he had porn debt, man. He had motherfucking porn debt, dude. He was so crazy about his porn. He did not play about his porn, that he had debt. I've never seen someone have gooner debt like that.
Ridiculous. Also, here's a crazy fact. So the guy who Ken Martin hired to do the report, okay? Obviously, this was an AI job. It was horrible. It was terrible. It's not ready for prime time, as Ken Martin said. But he still was working for the DNC up until, like, today. Like, he just got let go. Ken Martin announced to the staff today that the guy who wrote it, Rivera, is no longer working with the DNC. But, like, he was still on a project after doing this bullshit AI report that was completely fake and horrible. I mean, that is so embarrassing, man. It truly is embarrassing. And then also, I'll point this out for you guys. John Favreau said this from PodSave. He said, step 1, promise to release the autopsy. Step 2, put incompetent friend in charge. Step 3, incompetent friend produces incoherent product. Step 4, announce you're not releasing the autopsy. Step 5, lie about why. Step 6, gaslight people who ask, saying they're the problem. Step 7, face internal revolt. Step 8, release autopsy.
Yes, I'm going to fucking watch Zoran stream when he goes live, bro. Come on.
Oh, my word. Man, that's crazy, bro. This shit is crazy. So after all that, everybody now on the timeline is basically like, yeah, I kind of get why he didn't release it. I kind of understand now why he didn't release it.
Yeah, except for Third Way and except for all the centrist think tanks who looked at this, who looked at this report and was like, well, this confirms all of our priors. So it's a banger. They got so horny. They got so excited to be like, yup, that's it. That's the one. That they released statements that they had to then delete because everyone was like, this report sucks, idiot.
But having said that, he could have just told us the truth about this from the beginning, right? He could have just said, look, the guy I hired didn't do a good job. He used AI. It's a bunch of bullshit in there. And so, like, that's why we're not going to release it. But the most important point, and this is what everybody should be stressing, is this. Why haven't you since commissioned a real expert to do a real report? Because there's a real report to be made about what happened, right? There's a real report that, for example, centers Gaza, centers Biden's failure on foreign policy, which led to a depressed base, which led to reduced turnout. Right?
They did. He doesn't know. They did. Twitch did. That's insane. But I mean, Twitch is in the fucking pooper anyway, so who gives a fuck? Whatever,
right?
Let's continue.
There's a lot more to say about this. There's a lot to say about inflation. There's a lot to say about Biden's age. There's a lot to say.
Twitch was like, we have to get this sex pest who's written manifestos on being able to say the N-word back on the platform, please.
About doing the switch without actually having a process and, having, an open DNC where you could have actually had something at least relatively more democratic than what we had, where they picked Kamala. There's a lot of stuff to talk about here, right? And nobody's talking about those things. So he should have commissioned a new report, and he should have commissioned an actual expert to do their job right. And then we could be having a real discussion now about what actually went down. But instead, it's too perfect. It shows the incompetence of the people who work at the DNC. It also shows that they're liars who, covered their tracks every step of the way instead of just telling the truth here. And it shows this hellscape of AI that's taking over where work is going to get more and more dreadful and, we stray further and further from the light of God. So crazy stuff here, man. But DNC autopsy has been officially released. It's an absolute mess. Somebody was saying it appears like it's 192 pages. It appears like there's factual errors almost on every single page. factual errors. And it's like, come on, man. It's humiliating. This is absolutely humiliating. So do a real report and do your job properly. But in reality, like, you got to clean house at the DNC. Like, it should just be mass firings. There are a bunch of, like, corporate hacks who run that thing. We need real lefties, especially now that the Democratic Tea Party is in full effect and you got left-flank candidates who are winning all over the place. Like, bring in left-flank candidates. Faz Shakir, the person who ran Bernie's campaign,
yes,
he should absolutely be the head of the DNC. And he ran for it, and he almost won, but he should be the head of the DNC because he would never be this incompetent, and he would do a much better job. Like, this is crazy. Bring in Faz Shakir, clean house, get rid of these people, and make the DNC something that actual Democrats.
Before we get to the New York primaries, what is this? Scoop. DHS Secretary Mark Ray Mullen told travel executives that he's serious about curbing international flights to U.S. and airports and cities with sanctuary policies which could force airlines to reroute and inflict economic pain. That's awesome. Faz or Ben Winkler? I mean, I would absolutely choose Faz over anybody else. I don't even know if he's down to do it. Yeah, this is also during the World Cup, which, by the way, from what I understand, people are also pulling out of the World Cup as well. That's also another incredible situation. Is Zoran live, or are you guys just fucking with me? I feel like locking in for the Zoran live stream. Yeah, this is fire. They always do this shit where it's just like haters always eat the way that. This is how it used to be with Bernie when he first came on the platform too. Where whenever Bernie went live, people would just be like, dude, you have to watch Bernie. You have to watch Bernie. You have to watch Bernie live. And it's like we will. You know, this is novel. This is interesting. We'll watch it for the first. It's the first time he's doing it. I'm interested in what he will say. He's not actually live yet, by the way. This is fucking, just the intro screen. So I don't know why you guys are like, it's classic case of people being like, he's live already. You have to go watch it right now.
DNC autopsy report has been released, and It is kind of a disaster. As we had discussed on the show, it turns out that Paul Rivera, the person tapped by the DNC, by DNC Chair Ken Martin to produce this report, just kind of shit the bed and turned in.
If it's successful, other politicians will do it. Other politicians are not capable of doing it. Most politicians are not capable of coming across as like charismatic, empathetic, cool, fun. Why do you get triggered so fast, big bruh? Because of you, the chatters.
He's already been surpassed by AI.
Yes, he turned in this incomplete analysis. It's riddled with errors. It's not backed by source materials. It seemingly is written by AI in a lot of places. Ken Martin released a statement about the autopsy in conjunction with the report. I'll just read a bit of it. When I received the report late last year, it wasn't ready for prime time, not even close. And because no source...
All right, we saw all this
I've always
already.
thought that people who sort of admit mistakes and then say, okay, I'm sorry, full transparency. Like, we want to incentivize that behavior because we don't want people to think, why would I tell the truth now and release what I promised I'd release? Because then I'm just going to get even more shit and it's going to be worse, because we've had these conversations being in politics. And so, like, Ken Martin gets credit, I think, for doing that. Like, it is belated, but he put it out, he apologized, so that is good. On the other hand, the more I like read his statement and read his Substack and then looked at the report, like, he lied. Like, he promised a report. He put his incompetent friend in charge of it. The incompetent friend created an incoherent product. Then Ken announced that they weren't going to release the report for reasons that had nothing to do with the truth about why they weren't releasing it. Then, when anyone asked about it, including me, he decided to not just lie, but gaslight people into being like, you're the problem. It's why don't you want to win? Why are you looking in the past? And then there's like an internal revolt at the DNC and among donors and DNC members. And so then they release this. Like, it's just not, he says in his Substack, this is one of the lessons that he has learned that he puts in the Substack piece about this, about the autopsy today. The Democratic brand is in trouble and needs repair. We have to restore confidence in our party and show we can really deliver on our campaign promises to the American people. People need to be able to trust the Democratic Party again. Trust is critical.
Yeah. So
do you think we've resolved that?
No. I mean, so look, I'm with you. Like, I'm glad they put it out. I appreciate that they did this. It took way too long, but whatever, we're here. Big picture, I don't think Ken Martin is the right person to be leading the DNC.
Oh, I was like, what the fuck? Jasmine Crockett endorsed Wesley Bell. Ugh. All right, we'll get to it when he goes fully live, okay?
Right now. I feel bad saying that. There's a lot of people in the DNC building working really hard who feel demoralized and their job sucks right now. They deserve better leadership. And to your point, this is a totally self-inflicted wound. Like, Ken, if he just said from the beginning, hey, I screwed up, put the wrong guy in charge, report didn't get done, we're starting over, that would have been really bad, right? There would have been a lot of shots at him, questions of his leadership. This is exponentially worse. And you're right, he did lie about it. Like, he just did. And because of that lie, everyone else filled the void with their own theories, right? Like, she lost Kamala.
He protected immigrants and uplifted the poor. And he used the most cutting-edge technology of his time to speak directly to the people of New York. In the 30s and 40s, that was radio. But I like to think that if Twitch existed back then, he would have streamed too. Mayor LaGuardia spoke to New Yorkers on the radio on his show called Talk to the People. This is our absolutely shameless homage. Talk with the people. We're live on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, and yes, TikTok. If you're watching this on Twitch, drop your questions in the chat, and I'll answer as many as I can. We'll also be posting these conversations wherever you listen to podcasts, on your commute, washing dishes, pretending to answer emails, because government should be accessible. You should hear directly from your city about what we're doing and why we're doing it. So let's get into it. Here are a few things we did just this week. Today, we were so excited to announce that we were going to be delivering 1,000 $50 tickets to the World Cup just for New Yorkers. Now, last year when I was running for this position, I spoke about how New Yorkers deserved to have cheaper tickets to actually make sure
we don't need more propaganda. Am I right, Hasan? What do you mean? Yes, we do. Who cares about New York?
Today, we announced that thanks to a partnership with the New York, New Jersey Host Committee, we're doing exactly that. These 1,000 tickets are going to be sold $50 a pop to New York City residents. All you have to be is older than 15 years old and live in our city. And I'm sorry to Philly sports fans, that does not apply to you. Now, the way that you actually enter into this lottery is on Monday, Memorial Day at 10 a.m. We're going to open up this lottery from 10 a.m. to midnight, and it's going to be open every day for the next 5 days. You can enter into the lottery once a day. We're capping it at 50,000 entries per day. And if you win the chance to get a ticket, you'll also get the chance to buy an additional ticket, either for a family or friend or whomever you'd like. And with that ticket is going to come free bus travel from New York City to the stadium. Because we know that just as much as ticket pricing has been a prohibitive part for New Yorkers dreaming about going to the World Cup, so too has transit. And so this is going to be part of our initiative to make it easier for New Yorkers to actually be a part of this incredible tournament. Now, I want to also shout outs to something that we did a few days earlier, which is make an announcement that we are extending 100,000 offers of pre-K and 3K to New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs. This was part of our announcement that we were adding 2,000 new 3K seats. Now, as part of these invitations that we are sending out to children across the city to be a part of this program, to their parents, we were also really proud of the investments we were actually able to make into these systems, which means that this time around, we saw that 85% of families received one of their top 3K choices. And what we saw is that the average commute for families, we cut that by 6 blocks. Now, 6 blocks may not sound like a lot to you and me, but if you're walking with a toddler, 6 blocks is quite a bit of time. So we're very, very excited about this because we don't just want universal childcare to be something that's remarkable because of the fact that everyone can access it on a technical level. We also want it to be something that is easy for New Yorkers to be a part of, something that is in their own neighborhoods, something that they can look at and marvel at the quality of the instruction and say, this is a program that I want my 3-year-old, my 4-year-old. And this summer will start for the first time ever for your 2-year-olds as well with 2K. Now, the other thing that I wanted to flag for New Yorkers directly is that there are a number of New Yorkers who are at risk of losing their SNAP benefits. Now, this is going to start on June 1st due to new federal work requirements. In New York City, the group that is facing the highest risk of losing these SNAP benefits are 18 to 24-year-old men. So you are at highest risk if you are between the ages of 18 and 64 years of age, if you do not have or live with a child who is under the age of 14, and if you do not have a medical exemption from work. This is one of the reasons why we want to communicate directly to New Yorkers about the fact that here is a moment where your SNAP benefits may be at risk, and we're looking to make sure that we're doing everything we can to ensure that you can keep living in this city, that you can keep considering this city to actually be your home. Now, I've gone through a number of the things that we've been working through this week, and as you know, this is the first time that I've ever streamed or whatever it is that we would describe this as. So I wanted to make sure that we actually brought somebody on who was a little bit more fluent in the language of streaming and Twitch and everything else that comes with it. So please join me in welcoming New York City's very own Moose.
Donnie.
How you doing, my man?
Thank you for having me, man. Thank you for having me. Chat, what's up? So that's chat right there. You know what I mean?
Chat.
So when you're talking to them, you got to refer them as chat, not like ladies and gentlemen. All the politics stuff aside, you got to have that swag. So it's like chat, you know.
So it's like, what's going on, chat?
What's going on, chat? You know what I mean? So that's step one. Step two,
Okay.
What's actually cool about you being a Twitch live streamer now is you can communicate with the people and talk to the people one-on-one, which I love. So it gives them that one-on-one connection with you. And we can answer the people's questions straight off the bat.
Well, I actually got a question for you first.
Okay. Talk to me.
When was the first time that you streamed? Is that how you described it?
Yeah, streamed.
Streamed,
Yeah,
right.
so streaming started to become popular, I would say about a year ago.
Okay.
So I started about 6 months ago.
Okay.
Is he a face person? No,
honestly, I think
he's a TikToker.
streaming is the new
I think he streams as well sometimes,
wave right
but
now. It's like going viral. So because it gives
Trying to use words that I understand.
it gives people that feel like they have a genuine connection with you.
Yeah.
So that's why I love that you're doing it.
How do you, when you're streaming, are you typically at home? Where are you?
So people like that at-home connection, but you know what I think would be a good stream for you?
Hit me.
A day in a life with the mayor. So I think that should be the next one. Show the people how hectic your day is and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So we actually have some live questions from the people
Okay.
as we're streaming. So let's talk with the people. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. So
Who we got?
Prime Juice GF said, can you summarize the steps that you took to eliminate New York City's budget?
Absolutely. I have no idea what that handle is, but I will absolutely
you would have been better for
answer
this,
that
King.
question.
Yeah.
So this question,
and it would have turned into a literal fucking nightmare because every Zionist institution would be up his ass. It would be, he would get yelled at endlessly.
he inherited a $12 billion fiscal deficit. This is a generational fiscal deficit. The reason I describe it like that is because when you look at previous mayors and
I
what
think
they
Squeaks
inherited,
would have
when
been
they
a
came
better
in, it was nowhere
person
near this level.
to do this
And
with. No
what we were
disrespect to
looking
this guy,
at is
but
a choice to either try and balance this budget on the backs of working class New Yorkers who had nothing to do with this deficit, or to find a way to balance this budget by raising taxes on the wealthiest New Yorkers, as well as actually having a fairer deal with Albany. Now, what that means is Albany is the state capital of our state, and New York City is obviously one part of our state. And a lot of our funding comes through Albany. And under the previous governor, Andrew Cuomo, a lot of that funding was not actually a fair relationship. The city would bear more of the costs than the state would. There would be agreements about 50-50 cuts of the cost spending that we'd be doing, and then Albany would be paying less and the city would be paying more. We're very lucky that under this governor, Kathy Hochul, we've developed a partnership where we actually have a lot more fairness in that relationship. And now on the taxation side, another thing that we did is with the governor's leadership, we introduced and are now passing a pied-à-terre tax.
Oh, wow.
Pied-à-terre, you gotta say that 3 times fast.
Pied-à-terre.
Pied-à-terre. which is a reference to non-resident New Yorkers who have a secondary property in New York City that is worth more than $5 million. So this is not affecting a typical New Yorker. You have to not live in this city, you have to own property in this city, and then that property's value has to be more than $5 million. That itself is gonna raise $500 million for New York City.
Oh, God.
So all of these ways of having a fair relationship with Albany, of increasing taxes on the very wealthiest, and of actually finding the savings and the efficiencies in city government that have for a long time just been tolerated because that's how things are. Those were the ways in which we actually got to a balanced budget. Albany was a critical partner in that. The governor was a critical partner in that. The Assembly Speaker, the Senate Majority Leader. Another critical partner was all of you, frankly, because you are the New Yorkers who were calling, you were knocking on doors, you were making your voices heard. Because in another time, when you inherit a deficit, people will say, just go to austerity, just start cutting. We don't want to cut services for New Yorkers. It's a tough enough city as it is. It's time to actually invest in the people.
I love that. I love that. The chat is spamming right now, so
All right,
I got to
here we
ask
go.
you some more questions. I'm sorry.
Hit me.
Someone said, what would you say to a young New Yorker who feels like New York City is becoming impossible to build a life in? What would you say to that?
First thing I would say is I hear you. It is the most expensive city in the United States of America.
It is.
You're not imagining the fact that it's difficult. You know, I was sitting with a number of young New Yorkers the other day, and they said something that really stuck with me. They said, there are fewer things worse in life than being young and broke in New York City. And it hit me because in that moment, what a young person feels like is they don't have a future here. That the only way they could afford to live here is maybe continuing to live with their parents for the rest of their lives. Maybe living in that basement for the rest of their lives. And that's not the city that we want to live in. We want to have a city where you can actually dream.
No one
of
said that,
your
funnily
life
enough.
Here beyond.
Yeah,
the
I
life
don't
that
think
you're
they're
living right
saying
now.
that in the
So
chat.
obviously
I'll be
there's a lot
honest
of
with
hard
you.
work that is asked of
I think
anybody
it's
who's trying to
mostly
make it here,
ASCII dick
but we also
spam.
want to make it clear that if you work hard in the city, you can find a way in the city. That's why we're investing in childcare. That's why we're investing in housing. That's why we're investing in city-run grocery stores, because we want it to be that little bit easier. So when you're putting in 110%, you can look at city government and say, at least
I don't think it's
somebody's trying to be
pre-recorded.
I love that. Yeah, because honestly, I don't even live in the city. I live in Staten Island, and it's still expensive for me. But you know, I know it's.
Okay, you know what I love?
What?
So you just said you don't live in the city. You live in Staten Island.
It doesn't count as New York.
No, but here's the thing: is like when you grow up in New York City, to me, the city is Manhattan.
Exactly. It's just Manhattan.
The city is Manhattan, and then everywhere else is everywhere else, right? You got Queens, you got Bronx, you got Brooklyn, you got Staten Island. So you grew up in Staten Island.
I grew up in Staten Island, unfortunately. I love Staten Island,
unfortunately?
but
Come on.
it doesn't have that New York feeling. You know what I mean? When you come to the city, it's like hecticness and so much going on.
That's
Staten
why a lot of
Island is
people love
just
Staten Island,
quiet.
though, 'cause
Yeah,
they want
I mean,
that.
I guess if I was older, I'd love it. But right now, I'm too young. So someone also said, "Can you play Minecraft?
Okay,
Do you play Minecraft?"
I gotta be honest. I do not. I have not played Minecraft. How do you play Minecraft?
Honestly,
Is
I
it a
don't play
computer game?
Minecraft. Yeah, I think it's a computer
Reminder
game.
what good moderation looks like? Yeah. Yeah, this is the ADL page for how good the AOC moderation team look like. But there's a different ADL page now, which is precisely the reason why their moderation doesn't look like that moderation. Anyway. Yes, Zoran's going to play
908C.
video games before me.
What age group people play Minecraft?
I think it's
like a
like
kids-
like
is it
from
like a-
4 all the way to like it could be like 30 years old. You know what I mean? I think it's a
That's
generational
a
game.
Pretty incredible range. Okay, all right.
Woody W said, Zahran, do you think Arsenal cheated their way to the Prem title?
Okay, Woody W. I don't know how to kick you out of the stream, but I think you deserve to be kicked out of the stream. If anybody's listening that can do that, I think they should
Somebody
do that to Woody
block
W.
Woody
You
W.
should get Woody W out of here. Chat, you know what I'm talking about, if I'm using that right. Look, I'm proud to be an Arsenal fan. 22 years. Do you watch soccer?
I'm more of a basketball guy, but I saw they just won. I saw they just won. Okay, I'll give it
Think about it through the context of the Knicks.
Okay.
How long we've been waiting.
Yeah.
And every year we think it's our year.
I think it's been since 2002 for you guys, right?
It has been, I think
20
we were
years old.
24. Oh, sorry, it's been 22 years, so I think it was 2004.
And you've been a fan since 22 years ago?
I've been a fan since like 2000, 2001. My uncle put me on. The short answer is no, we did not cheat our way to this title. We deserved this title. And that's how you know, because we won the title with a game to spare. Shout outs to my man, Woody W., for trying to come at the new Premier League champions of England. And soon, Inshallah, champions of Europe.
Inshallah.
Come on now.
I actually have a question for
Hit
you.
me.
How do you feel about the Knicks?
I'm feeling incredible about the Knicks. Game 2.
Game 2 is
Tonight.
Did you watch Game 1?
I did watch Game 1. I also have to give a shout out to my friend Nikhil Sharma because the only reason I could watch Game 1 was because he had YouTube TV and he gave me his login.
I have someone's YouTube TV too.
Let's go. So that's
But that
a lot of
comeback was
people.
insane,
A lot of people ask,
honestly.
"What's democratic socialism?" Sharing YouTube TV with your boys.
Exactly.
That's also a little bit of example of that.
We're all living the same life.
Come on, just log in. You know, I gotta say, Captain Clutch,
Jalen Brunson,
incredible. But that run was incredible.
insane. I think there was like 6 minutes left,
Yeah,
and he made a bucket, then another bucket. I'm like, yo, we have a time. We
biggest
have a
comeback
chance.
in Knicks history. Right?
Yes, it was insane. I think it was in the playoffs. Yeah, for sure. I think they're gonna win it all this year. What do you think?
I'm saying, inshallah, come on.
Inshallah.
Come on.
Maybe we'll be at the championship game together.
I'm just saying, we want to run back 99. Get to the finals.
Hopefully. I think we got a chance.
Come on, we gotta have game 2. Let's not get ahead of
Let's
ourselves.
do it tonight. So, Prime Blank Oblivion said, "What's the best tacos in New York City?"
Okay.
I mean, I think there's only one answer to that. But let's see.
Oh God.
Las Tacos.
Okay, all right. I was worried.
We're on the same page.
I just
We're on
wanted
the
to make
same
sure.
page. All right.
I didn't want to like offend you. I didn't know if you had a spot. Okay, for me, I think it's tight between, you said Los Tacos.
Mm-hmm.
Los Tacos, number 1, and Taqueria Ramirez. Have you been there?
I have not been there. Where is that?
There are no good
Ramirez, I think,
tacos
is
in New
in
York
Greenpoint.
City. I'll stand on that too.
Fire tacos.
Yeah, we don't got that at Staten Island. So I know.
Come on.
Sorry, y'all
Los
got
Tacos number
pizza,
1,
y'all got
also
subs,
fire.
you got delis,
What's
y'all
your
got
taco order?
everything.
I just like that. I like birria tacos.
Birria tacos
I like
great.
birria
What is
tacos.
this?
Dipped in that little soup thing. Yeah, it's
Especially late at night.
fire. Late at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Science organizations and
It's
followers shall
bussin'.
throw.
You gotta say bussin'. Bussin',
bussin'.
it means like delicious.
It's free bussin'.
Yeah, free bussin'. Mark OHHHH said, "Any update on free bus progress?"
Speaking of bussin', it's not too far from the topic.
Ooh, that was a good one.
You know what I'm saying? Trying to link it up. Okay, so few things on this. This continues to be a priority for us because 1 in 5 New Yorkers can't afford the cost of public transit in New York City. And that was when it was $2.90. Now it's $3. So this is something that we're going to keep fighting for. And this is something we're going to deliver by the time that I'm done being mayor. We want to make buses free across the city. When I ran for mayor, I talked about making them fast and free. So what we focused on first is the fast part. Right now, there's some buses that travel at around 5 miles an hour. So we're doing everything we can.
Reading
to
chatter
get more than a
usernames out
million
loud,
New
rookie
Yorkers'
mistake.
bus
Yeah, I
rides
don't think
sped up
this guy's
by
not a
up to
streamer
6
either.
minutes.
He
6
streams,
minutes?
I think, sometimes
A
on
lot of
Twitch,
time.
but he's
And so that bus action plan
he's,
is right now our focus.
a
We're going
TikToker.
to keep working with Albany on how to actually make buses free across New York City while we also make them fast. Want to give one shout out though. There is one free bus in New York City today, Q70. You can take that in Queens. It's a great
wow.
place to be. And we just opened up a little bit of a busway for the World Cup for the Q70, so it's going to move a little quicker.
Who you got for the World Cup though?
Brother, I feel like I would be a fool if I made a prediction. Do you have? Who do you think?
Yeah, I got
What you got?
Portugal.
Shooey! Portugal has a stacked squad.
They do.
They have a stacked squad.
They do.
We got to be, first of all, host nation, there's always a little bit of magic, right? So I'm praying for the U.S. men's national team today. I was standing next to 2 of our incredible players. We're rooting for them. And then also, I was born in Uganda, in East Africa.
You were.
So we have never qualified for the World Cup, which meant I grew up rooting for African teams across the continent. Where's your family from?
My family's from Palestine.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah.
Not in the World Cup,
Not in the World Cup, soon,
but it's all
soon.
good.
Maybe soon.
Maybe soon.
You never know.
We
You never know.
still rooting for everybody out there.
Exactly.
And I think Senegal and Morocco also looking very good.
Morocco did amazing last year. Not last year, 4 years ago.
Where did you watch the games last time, Ryan?
At home with my mom. Yeah, but
That
I'm
is
actually
a-
excited that
what
it's in
a-
America
what a,
this
what
year.
a beautiful, sweet story.
You need to dab your guests
I was,
up more.
I was in
Yeah, you
Aladdin
guys
on
would be
Steinway.
freaking out
You're
about the
an
audio
Aladdin style?
spiking
Yeah, you
if I dabbed up my guests.
Astoria. What is your love with Astoria? Why do you love Astoria so much?
I mean, have you been to Astoria?
yeah,
I mean, it speaks for itself. Oh, wait.
I have a store over there.
Okay. I don't know.
It is vibes. It's good vibes. You know, you go
During
there.
Ramadan?
Yeah, during Ramadan is amazing. It's amazing. All the people are there. Everybody's happy. So I see it, but
I mean, it's okay for me. It's the sense of community. That's one thing I love, especially during Ramadan when you're walking on Steinway at 2 a.m. People are just sitting outside drinking coffee. Yeah. Uncles are just chain smoking and having espressos, right?
Gives you that Europe vibe.
Very much. And then I think the other thing for me, the food is incredible.
The food is amazing.
I mean,
I know you like the ziyara. Shout out to ziyara.
Shout out to Lefa at ziyara. Although I love ziyara, but never order ziyara if you have to run to be somewhere. like it's never 30 minutes. With all due respect to ziyara. Yes. I'm probably going to get a phone call about that afterwards. Okay.
Jocelyn, New York, sorry, I'm not the best at reading, said, can you describe how DOT is responding to clearing out storms, drains prior to storms?
Yes, so this is actually a very pertinent question because yesterday we had a significant amount of rainfall across New York City. Now, in most parts of New York City, this was 2 to 2.5 inches maybe, and our storm system is built for 2 inches of rainwater. As we know now with the climate crisis, that amount is increasing.
Olivia Reingold looking up this guy's playlist right now? No, I don't think this is going to have that much
that equates to
impact.
6 inches in an hour. Actually, earlier today, I was meeting with a number of families in Hollis and Queens who it wasn't just that their basements flooded.
Ain't no fucking dot question in Twitch chat.
Flooded. And there was a woman who came up to me and she had tears in her eyes and she was sharing with me that it wasn't a 2026 problem. It wasn't a 2020 problem. She's been facing this for 34 years. Wow. And that to me is an example of a lot of the roots of the climate crisis that we have been ignoring, and especially in terms of flood-prone areas in our city. So when it comes to what the city's doing on the short-term basis, we are making sure that we are clearing out catch basins. We are actually investing in cloudburst technology. Have you heard of cloudburst technology?
I have not. I'd be lying.
I'm gonna hit you with what it is.
Okay.
So there's a basketball court in Queens that is an example of cloudburst technology. Okay.
How is the YouTube stream looking, chat?
Basketball court with a surface. That can
I assume it's even worse than this.
Hold it for 24 to 48 hours, so the sewage system is not overwhelmed. Then when the rain
does anyone have a link to the YouTube stream?
A day later, 2 days later,
chat is off on the YouTube stream.
That makes rainfall, and then the system can actually absorb that. So we have invested, I think, close to $300 million over a 10-year period in additional cloudburst technology. And then we're also investing multi-billion dollars on a longer-term scale to actually address some of the longer-term sewage issues.
It's on YouTube too, but the chat is off.
Other parts of New York City. Because the videos that a lot of us have seen, especially that I've seen, I don't know if you saw any videos about the flooding yesterday, right?
Yeah.
There's a way in which we've come to accept this as if this is New York City when it rains, and that's unacceptable. And so we're looking at every single thing that we can do to make sure we actually catch up to the climate crisis.
Yeah, that's everybody amazing, give a shout out to the motherfucking mods, by the way.
Being mayor look cool.
ADL endorsed moderation
you got
team.
That aura to you, man. You got that aura to you. So we have another question from Fright Fest 2005.
Yeah, it's ASCII getting ass fucked.
She said, or he said, what are some additional ways you intend to tax the hyper wealthy? What would you use the funds to improve?
This is a great question. So 2 ideas that we've put forward is increasing personal income taxes on New Yorkers who make more than $1 million a year by just 2%. So if you made $1 million a year, this would be just an extra $20,000 in taxes. The other thing is to increase taxes on the most profitable corporations. So this isn't like a mom and pop store in your neighborhood that you know. These are the most profitable corporations doing business in New York. And to us, the importance of this, it's not just about fixing a broken tax system. It's also about having this revenue to invest back into the working people of the city, which will reap benefits for everyone who calls the city home. I'll give you one example. Childcare. Childcare right now. Do you have kids?
Sorry, but this is boring as fuck. I mean, we're just watching it because it's novel.
I'm going to make it easier for your mom to nag you about having kids because we're going to...
Okay, this is a novel experience. He's the mayor. He wants to do this like fireside chat shit. Obviously, their first, this is the first time they're doing it. It's not great. It could be better. It'll be better next time. But it's not a bad thing. If it's on turn to stream off, you'd have dozens of chatters spamming to watch it. I know. There's also that too.
That's a critical part of the kinds of investments we could be making. So when your friend tells you that they're settling down, the next sentence doesn't include they're moving to Long Island, or they're going to the suburbs, or they're going to Jersey, or they're going to Connecticut, because they can actually envision living in New York City.
That's beautiful, man.
So when you have kids, you got to stay here.
When I have kids, I'm going to hit you up.
I got to start dabbing people up.
Pinky promise.
Guys, To everyone spamming the chat, let's try to be a little respectful, you know, keep it family friendly.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
So we all know you used to be a rapper.
Yes.
Nah, I'm just playing. Who is legend US Fair 5 _ said, who's your favorite underground rapper?
That's not good.
Okay, what counts as underground?
I mean, like that low key, like not Drake. You know Drake just dropped his album, by the way. Did you listen to it or no?
I'm listening to that Janice song.
Yeah, there we go.
It's pretty fire.
But like not on Drake level, kind of like, you know, up and coming.
Okay, up and coming.
Sure. Oh, God.
Up and coming. Okay. I feel like I'm a little bit washed now in terms of the rap that I listen to. I feel like I've reached the age where most of the rap I listen to is the rap that I used to listen to.
Okay.
But I can tell you when I was in high school in New York City, you know who I would actually listen to a lot? Okay, he's not quite underground, but I feel like he never really broke through into the mainstream in New York City. There was a Canadian rapper named Chaos.
Chaos.
K-O-S.
Shout out to Chaos. I never heard of you, but
4321, Zamboni. Great songs. Also, now you know the song "Waving Flag" by Kanon.
yeah.
When I get up, you know that, right?
Yep.
Kanon actually has a lot of other great songs.
Okay.
And I used to
wait,
listen
he
to
sang
Kanon.
that song "Waving Flag"?
That was him. That was him. So he actually
okay.
has a bunch of great songs, and I actually went to a few of his concerts when I was in high school.
Wow.
At least you have a camera setting
which is actually
with plausible deniability to say where you beat red right now. I mean, it's not.
Me, man,
Is-
I
is-
just like Drake, man. I just,
Look, it's awkward.
He's not a rapper,
You know,
but
growing
Michael
pains.
Jackson
Growing
was really
pains.
good, so I just
Okay,
started listening
growing
to him.
pains.
So shout out to Michael Jackson.
That's the opposite of an underground rapper.
I know. I'm just making.
You're naming
I'm
the
a
most
hypebeast.
famous people in the world.
I get
Okay, so
fanboying for
Orion's
Zoran, but Newsom
online
proved
said,
this should not be done. It just doesn't work. No, I think if there's one politician who could actually do this, if there's one politician who could do this, it would be Zoran Mamdani. It's just that it has to be done.
To West Village.
It has to be done in a way that is more organic, and they just kind of.
Just there meeting with Councilmember Carmen De La Rosa, Dykeman Street.
It's his first ever stream. He's not doing a very good job with it. Obviously, like AMLO and them, they do a much better job with it. But I'm sure that AMLO and Claudio Sheinbaum's first ever stream was probably ass too.
Yeah, it's like Stein.
Right, but much better mofongo. So go to Dykeman, get some mofongo, go to Mama Juana's. It's a good time. I would also say Jackson Heights is a really lovely place to check out. Go to Diversity Plaza. There's a lot of different places you could eat. There's a place called Amdo Momo. You ever had momos?
No, I haven't. But maybe you'll take me one day.
Yeah, maybe one day. All right. Amdo Momo, $8 momos. 8 momos. Pretty great deal. It's a great lunch special. Actually, it's just they offer it all times of day. And then Bay Ridge. Gotta go to Bay Ridge. Gotta go to Rozdana and get some Arabic chicken shawarma. It's chopped up. It's
I
incredible.
see you like your Arabic food, you know what I mean? Arabic food is good. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Chat, give us some suggestions as well, you know?
Where do you guys think we should go?
Where do you guys think? What's your guys' favorite places in New York?
For all of the tourists who are coming to New York City, we want to make sure that they're not just coming to Midtown and just going to the game. We want them to get around the entirety of the 5 boroughs.
Yeah.
So I want to hear from you guys. Where should they go on Staten
Oh
Island?
God.
Don't go to Staten Island.
Come
no, I'm
on,
joking.
let's go to Staten Island.
No, go to Staten Island. You go to the mall.
Glorp for
Staten
Mamdani.
Island.
Give me one
Parks.
restaurant.
They got some nice parks. Restaurants.
So I do have a
Ooh, that's
lot
a
of
good
respect
question.
for the random chatters
Go to Ayat. You ever been to Ayat?
who are
Ayat's
at
pretty
least
good. Shout out to
trying.
Ayat. Ayat's really good.
How do you see
Some,
the city exam
Palestinian
system changing
cuisine.
as a way to bolster the
Go
city's ability to solve
You
problems
been to Shawnee's house?
and reduce reliance on consultants? Like, there are people who are genuinely trying to ask questions, dude.
Soul food. So good. I'm gonna go there tonight.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go there tonight. I'm gonna check
Gotta
it
go.
out.
But you gotta
Okay.
actually get a reservation.
Oh yeah? Okay. Well, I got
packed.
the mayor to call him.
Just
So.
give him a call. Give him a call.
Okay. KD80 said, where does
Big
the
Kevin Durant fan.
compost go? Did I say that right?
Yeah, compost.
Compost.
But you got to say it the way that they wrote it.
Where does the compost go?
Thank you, KD80 for your question. So to give you a sense, your compost goes to several facilities in the region. If we're talking about Staten Island compost facility, we got one right there. Some of it also goes to the Newtown Creek wastewater plant. Everybody should be composting though, because that's what we want you guys to do.
It's too yes, it is. It is too highly produced. He should have unveiled this with like.
Okay, I think that's a yes.
Okay.
I mean,
And last question. I'm so sad to wrap this up because it's been amazing to. It's
been a great time.
Go live with you, man. Honestly.
Oh God, they need to stop dabbing up.
Gamble 2088 said, Mayor Mamdani.
These are incredible names. Do you know what that means? Is that a reference?
I have no idea what that means.
All right. Well, anyway, let's get to the
Don't read the usernames,
Mayor
man.
Mamdani,
Don't read.
What's one decision that you've made recently that you feel most people misunderstand, and what would you want them to make about it?
I actually really appreciate that question. You know,
Are you backseating?
decision
I mean, this is literally the thing that I know
made that I
best,
feel like
better than
people-
anybody else.
here's one. You know, when we faced this
It's
$12
just-
billion fiscal deficit, we were able, through the use of reserves and
How many
savings,
are
we
they?
start
How
able to
long
start
are they going to
chipping
do
away
this?
at it.
Like, are they going to keep
And
doing
then
this?
in the middle of February, I had to come
you
forward
guys
and
know?
present the first version of our budget. They call it a preliminary budget.
Can we
And
move
in that
on?
version,
2K chatters
I
left.
said that we
Okay,
had
shut the
two
fuck up.
paths
It's almost
of
over.
how we could get the
Calm
remaining
down.
deficit down to zero. I said there was a path of last resort, and I said that the reason it's last resort is it would mean raising property taxes. And then there was the path that we wanted to pursue, that we would spend every day looking to pursue, raising taxes on the wealthiest and having a fairer relationship with Albany. And I laid out these were the two options, and that in our budget, the only thing we could control was the last resort. But the option we were going to pursue was the higher taxes on the wealthiest, the fairer relationship with Albany. And for some people, when they heard that, they thought that that meant we actually wanted to pursue property taxes. And we spent every single day since then pursuing the other option. And we're proud that at the end of this process, we put forward a budget that didn't have to go to the last resort, that was actually able to raise taxes
you
on the
get the
wealthiest, to have a
food?
fair relationship with Albany, to find those savings,
Thank
find
you.
those efficiencies, and eliminate a $12 billion fiscal deficit. But that's one thing that I think sometimes gets lost in translation. But I appreciate that question because oftentimes in politics, things move so quickly that you're
The
not
best way
given
for a
much time
politician to
reflect.
stream?
And I think this is an opportunity for that. So I want to also say thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this.
I don't think half the people watching the stream care about the production
Thanks, bro.
quality.
This is gonna
No,
go down
it's
in
just like
history as
it's too highly
Mayor's
produced.
first
It comes
ever
across as
First ever stream.
insincere.
Glad to be a part of
But
it.
even if this
And,
format
I have a
worked,
question now.
Hit me.
How did you like your first Twitch stream?
Honestly, this is actually quite fun.
It's fun.
It's fun. It's nice to not also do this alone.
Yeah.
Because it feels like sometimes if it's just
No.
me, it feels a little stilted. You know, I feel like actually I'm chatting with somebody.
Yeah.
I'm chatting with the chat
Chatting with
as
the chat,
well.
talking with the people.
Talking with the we don't say
Okay.
that.
I mean, talking with the chat.
Talking with the
There we
chat.
go.
We
There
don't say
go.
people. We
You're
don't say ladies and
professional
gentlemen.
now.
We say chat.
Before we end it off, you gotta hit this. You gotta say W's in the chat. So like if they spam W's, that means you got aura.
W's in the chat.
Like, W's in the chat.
Why are we not saying chat?
Chat comes from Drake. You're not allowed Drake.
I should have seen this coming. All right.
But hey, it was a pleasure.
This was a
Thank
pleasure.
you so much for having me.
Thank you for being a part of this. Of
course.
To all of you, to the chat, thank you for being a part of this. We're going to come back and do this sometime soon, and we're really looking forward to it because we want to make sure that you don't have to go searching anywhere to find out what is city government doing, why are they doing it. We want to make it easy for you, and this is the best way to actually be right there in touch with you. And we want to thank Mayor LaGuardia for the inspiration. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, they got to stop clapping. Okay, that was all right. I think for the first time ever. I mean, obviously there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and you know, I'll give them help if they want it. But that was a little. I thought it was great. Y'all are just haters. I mean, there's definitely some room for improvement. We should have gotten them my moderation team look, when AOC and I did that Twitch stream with like Ilhan Omar and everybody else, there was a whole fucking onboarding process. Like we literally I put my Moz on her moderation team as well. And on top of that, there was like, you know, we talked about how to do it. ahead of time. Delete the VOD, save your aura. Yeah. Like the ADL literally wrote a comprehensive report back in 2021 about how good the moderation team was, my moderation team was on AOC's side, and how this like incredibly fucking viral event that we did on Twitch was so well put together in comparison to like other Hollywood celebrities like Jimmy Fallon, who didn't have any moderation whatsoever, and why that like looked crazy. Bro, you heard that he didn't have you on as a first? Brother, I don't know if you live in the real world, or at least in the world that I live in, but I wouldn't want to be on this first ever stream, because it would be all about the fact that Zohran Mamdani had a rabid anti-Semite or whatever the fuck as his first Twitch stream guest. It sucks, but the reality of the matter is we live in a very different world now where everything he does, he gets fucking yelled at. So we can't be doing shit like that. Also ironic because I literally did have him on his first ever Twitch stream. But they'll get better. They can just they just need more moderation. That's it. All right, let's get back to the fucking DNC autopsy.
Lost because of Gaza. He lost because, right? So that exacerbated problems within the party. It didn't fix them. So he has a huge candor and credibility problem right now. There's also the fundraising problem that you guys discussed in that interview. There's some numbers out this week. The DNC has 14.4 million on hand. The RNC has 123.9 million on hand.
And really, the DNC has negative 3 million because that's the cash they have on hand. If you then take away the debt, then it's negative 3.
Yeah, and also the DNC is.
The problem is most people don't understand Twitch culture. They just don't get it. And it's understandable. This is a very insulated, super insular, small corner, very niche. Cope eating. Yes, I'm eating my lunch out of cope.
Getting massively outraised by the DSCC and the DCCC. And I guess like this whole process just made me feel like this guy's not good at politics. Like this interview came about because Ben Rhodes, or maybe me, tweeted something about fundraising. So Ken reached out to you to criticize you and say, oh, I'm always happy to come on. And then like kind of, I guess was kind of like harsh to you guys at that party. And like actually walked up to me, like shook my hand and just kind of like silently mean mugged me and walked away. I remember being like, I'm drunk, but like not that drunk. And so like, and then in the interview though, like he just like, it wasn't just that he was gaslighting you. He was like taking shots at you and kind of like, look, we've been friends for 20 years. You're one of the least confrontational people I know, but every 2 or 3 years, every friend, you have a blowout fight. And there was a look on your face that happened about 3 minutes into that thing. And I was like, I've seen that face before.
We know each other's looks very well when one of us is about to very well. No,
this is going to go south.
Because I'm not, you know me, I'm never looking to attack someone or embarrass someone. In fact, I probably err too much in the opposite direction. But when someone lies to you and you know they're lying, and then not just lies but accuses you of being the problem when you know that they're actually covering something, it pisses you off, first of all.
It's condescending.
But I will say this, because I'm sure some people might say, and I've seen some of this online too, which is like, too much on this autopsy, who the fuck cares? If this was just a
Dude, what's crazy about this is there are some people on the internet that genuinely despise any sort of criticism that the DNC receives, and I don't know where they're coming from. But like, people are so mad at the fucking Pod Johns for even calling into question Ken Martin. I saw someone be like, "Oh, these guys fucking don't do anything. Like, they don't actually yell at anyone. They don't yell at any they don't yell at any of the leftists when they should be just like screaming about anti-Semitism at people like myself. And instead, they just like fucking yell at Ken Martin." It's like, dude, if it's team sports, you want your team to get better. Okay. It's not team sports. It's obviously much more important than team sports. But like, even if it is team sports, you have to fucking, you have to review the tape. You have to fucking review the goddamn tape to make sure you don't make the same mistakes you lost.
One-off mistake by Ken Martin, and that was it. And it's a pretty big mistake. That would be one thing. From everyone we've talked to inside the DNC, outside the DNC, DNC members, fundraisers, donors, all these people, this is indicative of a larger problem with how Ken has operated, which is that he is defensive, insular, is not transparent about a lot of things, does not have good communication with other people in the party. He's got his crew of people that he brought in there, and he talks to them and doesn't talk to a lot of other people. And I think that the credibility problem, yes, the autopsy is the most glaring example of it, but it goes beyond that. You mentioned the fundraising thing. And look, this is not a Democratic Party writ large problem. If you look at the April fundraising reports, and this has been true for the whole last year, NRCC barely outraises the DCCC, NRSC barely outraises the DSCC, and then the difference between the RNC and the DNC is just massive.
Yeah.
Massive. So it's not the other party committees that are the problem, because if it was a wider Democratic Party problem, we'd see that in the DS and the DCCC.
And I think I don't have the numbers in front of you, but I think the DS did like 2x what the DNC did, and the DCCC maybe did 3 or 4x, right? So they're raising a lot of money over there. Yeah, and look, again, I'm not being critical because this person was kind of like prickly and rude to my friend. Like, who gives a shit?
Fine,
Be prickly
whatever.
and rude to us.
Yeah.
Right? It made it a more interesting interview.
Fine.
But I think it's indicative of just like a political problem, which is like the fundraising is bad in part because Ken Martin took a bunch of shots at some of our biggest donors in the campaign against Ben Wickler, and then seemingly just refused to make amends for months and still hasn't. And so, like, look, we can muddle through these problems now, but the trust deficit, the political challenge here, the rubber meets the road when he has to set up a presidential primary process and balance a bunch of interests and keep people in line. And we just cannot end up in a place as a party where there's like a half dozen splinter groups setting up their own unsanctioned debates and no one is reining them in. It's just a disaster. And like, by the way, another option could have been saying in part what he said to you in the interview, which is like, hey, guys, we lost because Joe Biden is old and then inflation made people mad. We're not doing an autopsy. There's no silver bullet here. We all know what we fucked up. Oh, okay. That could have avoided the political problem. I think it's valuable. Like, there have been other people sort of, have released their thoughts on what went wrong and things we screwed up. And there's like kind of useful tactical points in there and things you learn. But again, it's just like the mishandling is like.
Lib Bizzle. Everything the Pop Bros are saying is absolutely true. I know it from experience with Martin directly. It's also crazy people are criticizing him for doing this. I've called Ken Martin and the party out to his face, and he can't take a punch on any level when done politely. He loses it. All ego. I just don't have any confidence that whoever replaces Ken Martin is going to be competent either. That's the other problem here. I don't think that they're going to, like, yeah, I think Ken Martin is clearly incompetent to a degree where it's hurting the party. It's very clear. But I don't think anyone who replaces him is going to be good either. This is not just like a structural problem within the DNC. This is just like the holistic problem with the Democrats. They're predisposed with business as usual politics. That's also lined their pockets up. It's their entire fucking worldview. They love seniority. It's a major issue at every level. Not only are they incompetent, though, they're also fucking, not very good at. I mean, they're also somewhat corrupt.